Right, I have two balloons here. They both look just the same. One of these is filled with air, and one of them is filled with hydrogen. Now, which one's which? How can we tell? How can we tell? Let go.
Let go.
Ah, you're guessing. Ah, but you say let go. Let's try that. Let's let go then. Ah, now, can you guess which one's got the hydrogen in? Yes, this is the hydrogen, and this balloon is filled with air. Now, so the air sinks. Well, this is actually because the air that's inside here is the same density as the air in the rest of the room, of course, but the balloon is heavier, and this is why this thing sinks. This gas is hydrogen, and hydrogen is lighter than air, which is why it goes up. Now, the balloons that you normally get that go up are not filled with hydrogen. They're filled with helium, that's right. We don't use hydrogen because hydrogen, well, as we shall see in a moment, is very flammable. Helium isn't flammable, but hydrogen is. I'm just going to put this one out the way. I'll put this up here to keep it safe in this tube. There we are. So that floats up nicely and just fits. That's handy. Almost as if we'd made it fit. Right. Okay, now we're going to have a look at some hydrogen. So hydrogen burns. So Sarah here has another balloon filled up with hydrogen gas. And we'll see if we can light this one then. So remember, the oxygen did not burn at all. The balloon basically just burst. Let's see what happens with hydrogen. Okay, are you ready? So remember what happened to the oxygen. The balloon just burst. What happens here? Oh, well, that's a bit more interesting. Well, in case you missed that one, we've got a few more. Okay, thank you. All right, okay, so let's see what happens with this lot. Right. Okay, so I hope you agree then that hydrogen is slightly different from the oxygen. Hydrogen does indeed burn. Now, in one of my sort of slightly daft moments, I thought, well, I know what would be a really good experiment. We should try and strike a match inside a really big balloon of hydrogen. That would be good. Okay. My technicians don't agree with me on this one. They think it's a really stupid thing to do, and they get very nervous every time. But let's give this a go. So in the bag here, well, we've filled it up with hydrogen gas. All right, just to be safe here. Right. So I'm going to strike a match inside, if I can get my hands in here, inside this glove bag. Sorry, can you give me another hand, please? Thank you. It occurred to me the other day when I was doing this, I should have been a vet. But anyway, right. Okay. Now, I have a match, and I'm about to strike the match inside this big bag of hydrogen. So watch carefully what happens. Aha. So the matches do light, and this is because the matches contain all the oxygen they need built into them, but phew, I always get slightly nervous, but the hydrogen doesn't light, and I think I'll quit while I'm ahead there. And we'll just prove that it really is hydrogen in here. So Mark is going to squeeze out some of this hydrogen through this jet here, and I should be able to light it just to show that it really is hydrogen. So there we are. Burns with an almost colourless flame, but I can easily relight my match in it. There we are, just to show that it really is hydrogen gas that was inside the balloon. Good. Phew, that's over. Now, why doesn't it burn? Why doesn't it burn? Because there's no oxygen, there's no air in there. All there is just hydrogen. Okay, now then. So I thought, yes, that's okay. Where can we go from here? Well, just going to bring this out to the front so you can see it more clearly. Remember, the hydrogen balloon was in here, and the hydrogen balloon is floating merrily in the air. Now, I can make this balloon go down by magic. Watch this. See, watch this, it's going down any second. Oh, there we are, look at that. See, magic. So why is this going down now? Well, remember hydrogen floats in air, but the air balloon didn't float in air because the balloon itself was slightly heavier. Well, what we've done now is fill this tube up with hydrogen gas, and so the balloon no longer floats inside it because the balloon itself is heavier. So hydrogen doesn't float in hydrogen, just like an air-filled balloon doesn't float in air. So this tube now contains hydrogen. Now, remember my oxygen gun? And remember how we couldn't light the oxygen gas? Well, we can't light oxygen in the air because oxygen doesn't burn in air, but can I light it inside the hydrogen? Right, this is slightly nerve-wracking. Okay, now there's a little electrical spark on the end of this, so when we're in place, Mark, not before, we can start this sparking, and we're going to let the oxygen come out, and it should light inside the hydrogen here. Okay, so remember oxygen doesn't light normally, so ready? Need to check here. It's and fireman Nick is on. Yes, good, thank you. Right, okay, so, okay, we're in, sparker on, and oxygen, and there we are. So this is oxygen gas burning in hydrogen, which is actually pretty good, really. So oxygen itself doesn't burn in air, but it does burn in hydrogen. Okay, off. Right, now, phew, so far so good. Well, I thought, okay, so we can light oxygen inside hydrogen, but could we set fire to a piece of paper soaked in petrol in hydrogen? Right, well, let's give that a try. Yeah, yeah. So here's some paper, just to show, soaked in petrol, burns very nicely. Right, oh, I just need to lower the little clamp that we have. Okay, so piece of paper soaked in petrol, clamp it in place, raise it up. There we are. Right, now then, what will happen? So, ready? Okay, click it on. Okay, so the oxygen is now burning, and the petrol and the paper do not burn. Only when the oxygen flame is directly on this does the paper begin to smoulder, but it certainly isn't catching fire. Okay, off. Right, thank you. Right, phew, that's good. Now, remember the balloon filled with oxygen, and it didn't light in air. Will it light in hydrogen? Well, let's give it a try. So we have here a little tiny balloon filled with oxygen. And we're going to see if we can set fire to this. So a little tiny balloon, and we're going to set fire to this in hydrogen. So this is a balloon of oxygen. Right. Okay? Ready? Good. Okay, so off. Clicker on. There we are, fantastic. It instantly burst, maybe a bit too quickly, in fact, but never mind. Right, off. Okay, good. Phew, marvelous. Thank you. So, oxygen doesn't burn in air. Hydrogen doesn't burn without any oxygen. It's the two together. So just imagine if we were on a planet made up of hydrogen gas. Well, it wouldn't burn. We wouldn't think that hydrogen was very exciting. We'd say, well, hydrogen, that doesn't burn. Could we find such a planet, though? Well, here's a planet. Anyone know what planet this is? It's Jupiter. That's very good. You're very good with your planets. Yes, this is Jupiter. So if we were standing on the surface of Jupiter, well, actually, that would be slightly hard because Jupiter is actually a gas giant. It's just made up of gases, and the main gas it's made up of is hydrogen. So we couldn't really stand on the surface because there isn't one. But if we were at Jupiter and we had a balloon filled with hydrogen, it wouldn't burn at all. We'd say, oh, hydrogen, that's not very exciting. But if we had a balloon of oxygen, well, we'd say that the oxygen was very flammable, and we'd need to be very careful with the oxygen balloon. Okay, right. So we've seen hydrogen burning in oxygen and oxygen burning in hydrogen, but they've been burning with a nice, quiet, gentle flame. What if we want to get a bit of a bang out of this? Well, we can do this. We need to mix up the hydrogen and the oxygen in just the right ratio. So Sarah here has filled up a balloon with hydrogen and oxygen gases all mixed together. And this particular balloon has equal amounts of hydrogen and oxygen. Right. So this one should go with a little bit of a bang now. Now we've seen the hydrogen balloons before. They went with a sort of a bit of woof. These ones are going to go more with a bang, so if you don't like bangs, do put your fingers in your ears. So this balloon contains equal amounts of hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, are you ready? Well, that was certainly... So that was certainly a bit louder, but we can do better if we mix the gases in just the right ratio. Now, what's the formula for water? H2O. And this means we have 2 atoms of hydrogen combined with 1 atom of oxygen in every water molecule. So if we wanted the gases to react in just the right proportions, we need to have twice as much hydrogen as oxygen. So before we had equal amounts, this time we've got 2 parts hydrogen to 1 part oxygen. And this is just the right ratio to get the best bang, or at least we hope so. So again, if you don't like bangs, do put your fingers in your ears. Okay, are you ready? Oh, there we are. Now, just in case you missed that one, I thought, well, we need to try and bring this to the audience a bit more. And, well, what we've done, we've filled this tube that goes all the way around the audience, all the way above your heads. We've filled it full of hydrogen and oxygen gases in just the right ratios to combine, okay? And we have, to stop the gases coming out, we have a bung in this end, and we've got a target to aim it at over here. Okay, and we have a laser-guided bung. Here it is. Now, so far, we've missed the target almost every time. We've hit it, I think, twice. Haven't quite got there yet, so let's just, I think that looks about right. Right, so, bung, target. But what you need to watch is the pipe itself. So this is an 80-meter piece of reinforced plastic, okay, filled with hydrogen and oxygen in exactly the right ratios to give us a good bang. Don't look at the target. We'll look at the target later. What you need to look at is the pipe itself. So you need to look above you. Okay, that's where all the action is going to be taking place. So look up at the pipe itself. Now, this happens pretty quickly, this reaction. Blink and you will miss it. So just look up at the pipe. And we'll take the lights down. Okay, thank you. And after 5, I will light this, so you just look up. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we've still not quite got there. We've just missed him this time, but almost. Okay, great. So that was hydrogen and oxygen in just the right proportions.